we had a look, didn't we, at L'Enfant Wilder being caught up behind. He's the man who should provide the bike change, should there be an issue for Remco Evenepoel. Only teammate there is Gianni Moscon, as Pogacar and Evenepoel, first and second, are chatting. Third, of course, is Jonas Vingegaard, and we talked about the GC. Roglic started the day at 1:35 down from that man in yellow. The minute he would be over 2 minutes down in the virtual general classification. As we go back to the front, just under 2 minutes in front of all of the chaos going behind, and the riders, well, they're riding on next towards the intermediate side of Fontet.
No stress for this man at the minute. Looks like he's got his team on the front. We can't quite see yet, but 124 k's to go. There's plenty of time for him to come back up to that group with Jonas Vingegaard in there, and I've forgotten his name, Tadej Pogacar, sorry. Got mind blank.
Pidcock, Stern, Vermeers, Healy and Van Gils at the front of the Tour de France. They're joined by G, most dangerous rider in the general classification in that front group. Zingler, Aramburu, Lascano, Romo, Lutsenko and Turgis. It's a hard, long chase for this group led by King Kung, Stefan Kung, Clément Rousseau, Stuart Balde, Ballerini and Court. And not too far now in front of the yellow jersey group. Exercise in survival continues. They can see them up the road now as you are in conversation. Adam Yates here. This is almost a home stage for Adam Yates today, by the way, because when he first became an amateur rider coming through the ranks, he rode for the local club at Troyes for 2 seasons.
Nice. Some old stomping grounds then, some old roads that you'll probably remember. It's great to see Adam Yates up there as well. You know, I think that's the importance of today, and it shows where Adam Yates is. Yes, he can probably win a stage in this year's Tour de France, but what's important, getting Tadej Pogacar through this stage as safely as possible. We know that Adam Yates isn't really a one-day rider whatsoever. That big fight coming into gravel sections, being at the front in the most important times. Yes, it's easy when it's uphill and into a climb for him, but to be there in this situation with the amount of riders within that group who are typically classics riders, he's really made sure he's done everything he can to be in there, and it's great that he is for the support and the morale of Tadej Pogacar. You know, we've criticised them maybe for not being there at the correct time. The first crucial point so far, he's got 4 teammates around him, so it's brilliant to see.
I think Adam Yates is the epitome of the best domestique. You know, he's been brought into this tour as Tadej Pogacar's right-hand man. He was clearly sacrificing his own chances on the Galibier. There's question marks between Ayuso and Almeida. And he's going to be instrumental in this tour for Pogacar here. So, yeah, good that he's in this group.
This group is now the Roglic group, and they've cut the distance to 25 seconds. They've brought 10 seconds back. Let's get to the radio with Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe.
Group with Vesma and the yellow jersey, 30 guys left. We need to get there, but we have 28 kilometers time.
28 kilometers, referring to the next gravel sector. Well, that came up quite a while ago. Of course, the next gravel sector now is 102 k's to go, so 20 kilometers away. They're on their way. They're doing a good job. The gap's back to just under 30 seconds. That was the calm voice in the car there of Rolf Aldag.
Interesting, Remco's moving up on his own there on the right-hand side. He's got Gianni Moscon with him. It's a shock that he hasn't got more riders with him around him at the minute. We know that gravel section was difficult, super steep entry into it, but you'd have thought on a day like today with the likes of Yves Lampard and these kind of guys in there that they have a few more guys represented in that front group.
Riders there for UAE. I can tell you, Marc Soler, Adam Yates you mentioned, Tim Wellens, as well as João Almeida. Almeida, of course, stands to gain himself in the general classification if Primož Roglic does not make contact. But here he is. He's just in front of the green jersey, Biniam Girmay. Girmay will be hoping to hang in here because if there's a bunch that comes to the finish today, he would be among the favourites.
Yeah, of course he will. Be on cloud 9, won't he, after his 2-stage wins already. So good for himself. And not only himself, but the team. They are one of the smaller teams as well coming into this Tour de France. Let's not forget as well, 50 kilometres, it's pretty much a flat run into the finish and a flat final. So it could be a really good day for Vinny and Vermeij.
It's interesting to see there Wout van Aert in that second group, obviously not doing any work, but it's different from Wout van Aert to be there. Normally you'd expect him at the front on a stage like today, but also as well, Mikel Landa within that group, and he had Yves Lampard in front of him, probably protecting him, trying to, just in case it comes back, he'll position him well. If Yves Lampard get into the next section and they're right on the back, Yves will try and bring Landa up as close as possible, get him back into the mix, get him back up alongside Remco and do that job for him. He's treated within that group as the leader in that group that they're in, and hopefully trying to get him back to Remco, as I said.
Landa, by the way, began the day in 8th place at 3:35 in the GC. Now the Roglic group is on its way back for now. Inside 20 seconds. Ticks over to just over 15 as we look at it now. And this is a big job being done right now by Bob Jongels. He's being helped there by Matteo Sobrero. And here at the front, this is Oyer Lascano. And the group has settled into a rhythm.
I think the most important thing there with Red Bull, Rob, is that they can bring them back. They'll probably bring them back, but it's what they're using, which riders they're sacrificing to do so. You know, they've still got 120 to go on the stage. They wouldn't have ideally liked to be in this situation, but they are. But if they get these riders back just before that gravel section, maybe that's Jungels and Sobrero that they lose then going into the later section. So it's just, you always want to stay ahead of the game. You always want to do the least amount of work, but in the most efficient way possible. And it's not the most efficient way right now that they're having to do it as a whole, as a team.
Let's not forget, we've had 2 gravel sectors. That's just under 30 kilometres on gravel still to go. We're looking at Tom Pidcock.
Tom and guys in the bunch fueling all day, okay? Every chance you get, keep smashing food and drink.
And Danny, that's more difficult on a day like today, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's easy to forget when you have to be so focused and attentive throughout, and there's not much road between these gravel sections, so really important for the DS behind to keep reminding the riders to keep fueling, because if you don't, it could be too late. If you miss fuel, these riders are going to be taking on fuel every 20 minutes or so, and they'll have a fueling strategy in place, but like you said, Rob, so easy to forget on a day like today, and not easy to go back to the cars either. So in my opinion, the riders' pockets will be absolutely packed today for fuel, because they won't be going back to the car, that's for sure. Of course they'll have soigneurs, you can see here on the side of the road with those musettes to keep them fueled, but when you're so focused on the race in hand, that's when you can forget.
Interesting, Rob, there, that I was looking for Remco's teammate. He's on the front. He's pulling alongside Ineos Grenadiers with Ben Turner and almost Visma Leasebike. For Visma Leasebike, this is perfect. You've got 1 or 2 riders helping.
They want to make it either too difficult for Roglic or stop him getting back on, don't they? If they're contributing.
Yeah, they want to either stop him getting back on or at least hurt his legs enough, so if they do get back on the next section, it's going to hurt him going into that, you know. But I think they have to be aware here that Remco's only got 1 rider with him in that front group. If Remco
it's
has
a risky
problem,
game, isn't it?
Very risky game for what is not really a Tour de France game-changing move here. You know, there's still so much of the stage to be ridden that personally I wouldn't put Moscon on the front now, just in case of that risk that a puncture happens, something like that. I'd just keep him a little bit back and just let these guys work hard. They're going to work hard anyway, but also put the pressure on Visma. You know, make them work hard and make them get in a situation where they might be isolated later on with Vingegaard.
Pavel Simakov is just obviously going to sit on here. So
Same
Fredo's
with-
going to sit back with Roglic.
Same with Lidl. You know, they've got Stuyven in that front group. They're not really going to contribute to it at all either. And Ciccone, sorry.
That gap had come down to around 10 seconds. Then you saw Ineos Grenadiers fully commit. You saw Moscon fully commit. And the game they're playing, well, it's extended the gap almost to 20 seconds again. And you just saw that Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, after maybe just going out of 1 man, trying to save Sobrero for a minute, who went back to sit with Roglic, he went right back to the front there, Danny, and decided that, no, they had to recommit.
Yeah, you could see Pavel Sivakov just running that kind of polite interference, couldn't you, for the team of UAE, who've got strength in numbers up front. But like you said, Rob, that gap's come out just a little bit more, and it's forcing the team of Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe just to use up so much energy. Just reiterating what Adam said here, this is really not ideal, because yes, even if it does come back together, what has that taken out of these riders that are going to be key in Roglic's quest for the general classification?
This is Ben Turner then, the man from Sheffield in Yorkshire. And here's the man from northern Italy, Valdinon, Gianni Moscon. All contributing and working there was Wilco Kelderman, still Wilco Kelderman. He's the man in the middle in the peacock suit.
It's interesting with Mywhoosh as well, looking like he's sheltering Bilbao, just riding out that little bit in the wind, ever so slight cross headwind. You can just see where the riders are across the road. From our right-hand side, just slightly going to the left, so the wind just slight cross headwind. But interesting that Mywhoosh is just protecting Bilbao that little bit more. I don't think Mywhoosh as well, he's a very intelligent rider, but he doesn't have to ride there, he doesn't have to ride that much to the front. Both of them can get enough shelter within this group and save as much energy. I think this is keeping Bilbao and making his life a bit easier, but it's also, I just don't think Mywhoosh has to do that right now.
Back with the Roglic group, and this is painful, isn't it? Because they can see them all the time, but it's still 20 seconds. It's come down, but it's hovered, it's gone up again, and sitting at the back now of this group is Alexander Vlasov.
I don't understand why. He might be going back to the car for bottles, he might be waiting for bottles. Roglic might have asked for assistance, and with the cars and the groups as they are, they can't just jump up. There's only a certain amount of room in between. This group here is obviously the lead group, they've got cars. I know that UAE have got their car in between. I saw it on a previous shot, but maybe the Red Bull car's not being able to get up there yet, so maybe he's just waiting at the back for that assistance for bottles or something.
We're on our way to the intermediate sprint here. Imagine looking at the composition of this group, what's at stake. They will just ride, won't they?
They have to. They have to. Full gas as well, I think, all day.
But I mean, there's nobody involved here, seriously, unless memory is completely failing me for a moment, in the green jersey competition.
Nada.
500 metres to the intermediate sprint, 20 points up for grabs, just for housekeeping. It takes place today at Fontet, but these riders now with less than 2 minutes. It's coming down to a minute and a half now. All of the hard work to get out in front, and behind the chase that's involving Roglic and the others in the big three is actually bringing this group back.
I can't see the gap going up, to be honest, on a day like today, because naturally throughout these gravel sections the pace is just going to keep rising and rising, so it's going to be such a tough day out for this front group.
It's Anthony Turgis who just about takes it off Javier Romo there. Well, they need something, don't they? Even if it's beer money for the end of the tour for Total Energy. Remember, there are monetary prizes at each of these sprints.
Movistar's playing it quite clever in here now. You saw Lozcano then just letting the wheel go, saying I'm not going to follow that, forcing Ben Healy to follow, forcing Pidcock to follow as well. Watch Stuyven within this group. He's a very clever rider and just grown up around that racing in Belgium. As you see Ballerini going back and playing games there. I can't believe they're doing this, lads.
Especially in this group with what's behind. Just under 115 kilometres remain, and we're on our way to sector 12, the third sector of the 14 today.
You can see that group with Roglic just coming back as well, Rob. It looked like that gap has closed somewhat, so this group just need to fully commit here.
It's less than 10 seconds behind. Look how strong out it is. They are fully committed. This group here as well is just in front by around 20 seconds.
Imagine being Jake Stewart looking over your shoulder, seeing that group behind and then another group behind that, you'd be like, oh man.
Look at the effort here, Adam. Ben Turner, he knows it's almost coming back together, and the effort he's making just to try and keep it out and make them work harder. It looks like it's here. They're making the final effort. Roglic himself wants to get across, and he's not taking any chances. But where's the rest of his team?
Off the back.
Oh my word! Oh my word!
This is not good.
Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe are in crisis here.
This is not good at all. That was my worry with it, you know, committing a couple of rides. He had to shut it down straight away. Roglic having to do that work on his own is not what you need, and he has to get up to the front now and position himself. It's not just that he will get back in that group, but the support from his team. If there's a puncture, if anyone's around, these guys have to keep riding. They can't sit up. It might slow down when they come back together. Ben Turner, not quite sure why he's riding that hard on the front there. You know, they've got a GC battle, they've got Tom Pidcock in front, but there's 7 riders in front of Rodriguez at the minute on GC that can take that responsibility, and with what, done 2 gravel sections? You know, they've got so many to go still in with the riding like they are doing. If not anything, Ineos Grenadiers should be sitting back right now with a possible stage winner in this front group.
Roglic has returned, but he is more or less all alone. Sobrero, Vlasov have struggled. This now is the next group off the back of the yellow jersey, and Yates is involved, Simon Yates here. Not been a great start in the general classification this year, has it, for Simon Yates, who is likely riding his final Tour de France with Jayco Lula. He's said to be moving on next year, of course, although we have to wait for the official communication and confirmation that can only come later this year, as per UCI rules. So, some food. Get something down, get reorganised, and for Roglic, even if he's on his own here, he's got to make sure that he follows the wheels, and with 130 Ks to go, this is going to be a really, really testing day.
It's going to be
a
worrying day for him. He's just moved up on the left-hand side, but as you can see on his own again, these guys are about to be swallowed up as well, so they can just take that little bit of a breath. Visma Leasabike, look at them all the way to the right-hand side of the road. We know there's gusts of wind today, we know the wind's there, but they are making sure everyone is working hard behind them, not giving any more room for shelter to anyone.
You're watching stage 9 of the Tour de France, and it is chaos. Beautiful, disorganised, entertaining, aggressive chaos. It's a champagne finish to the end of the first block of racing. We've not even popped the corks yet, but this is fizzing up a heck of a lot. Visma Leasabike putting Primož Roglic in trouble. He's just saved the day for the first time. He is back in this group now. I think he has Jai Hindley with him, but on the last look, there might not be anybody else. Let's see. He looked to be more or less alone.
Oh, no,
2 other riders now get back. Sobrero being one of them, Vlasov being the other. Pogačar's always been here. UAE have responded much better than they did the other day when the wind was blowing. And Visma Leasabike at the moment with their classics team, with the winner of Strade Bianche and Kuurne in Benoot, Dwars door Vlaanderen champion Jorgensen, Laporte, Gent Wevelgem star, Omloop het Nieuwsplans, Jaap Tratnik, and now after this group is back on, Wout van Aert, classic superstar, they have been teaching everybody else a lesson. It's 1 minute and 33 behind a group of 12 riders all the way to the yellow jersey group. The next group on the road, Renders, Kung, Rousseau, Paulus, Stewart, Ballerini and Court, is just at the top of your picture, and they're on their way to being caught. Things are getting a little more simple in terms of telling everybody what the groups are, where they are, but we've only had 2 of the 14 sectors. The next is on the way in the next 10 kilometres. I'm Rob Hatch. I'm sat alongside Danny Rowe and Adam Blythe, and this is something very special.
This is a proper day out. This is proper racing, you know, not just for the stage win, but also for the GC. It's been a long time since we've seen anything go as crazy as like it has done already, and the drama that's happening, you know, Roglic in there doing the work on his own to bring the group back with his rivals in there. There is so much happening, so many tactics being played for the stage win with this group out at the front of 137 in front of the yellow jersey group. Then you've got the politics and who's going to ride, which team makes where within that chasing group with the yellow jersey in there as well. There's almost 2 races on the hands, but that second race for the GC, we've obviously got the stage win, but I think for that race for GC behind, if there's an opportunity to take time today, brilliant. But the main thing is to finish with your rivals, not to lose time. And that can be out of a lot of guys' control today with the look of the draw with the gravel road, sadly.
Look how hard this day's been as well. Fabio Jakobsen here with two of his teammates for DSM Firmenich Post-NL. Still an average speed of 48 kilometers an hour. The back door is open. The peloton hugely reduced already, and we've only had 2 gravel sections. This is brilliant.
Fabio Jakobsen there was the back of the race. You could just see the voiture ballet, the broom wagon right at the back. And as soon as the yellow jersey group catches these lot, the attacks start again. But I'll tell you what, 1 minute 37 is quite the gap to bridge. At the front, we've got 2 former Tour de France stage winners in Lutsenko and Pitcock. They're joined by Sturven, Vermeers, Healy, Ronkils, G, Zingler, pardon me, Aramburu, Lascano, Romo and Turgis. And now they're active again. They've been active all day. They've not been able to do much. This is Dan McClay of Arkea Samsic, or Arkea BMW.
Good little move. Very good little move. He's got Magnus Cor with him again. I'm just trying to look who the Israel Premier Tech rider is. Obviously, they've got Derek G in there. We saw Jake Stewart going on the move previously. But that's this point now, you know, where it's all back together. The GC riders are looking around going, we're not going to ride into a headwind anymore. We need to be fresh for the next section. We need to make sure we get into that next section of gravel in the best position with our team leader, with Jonas Vingegaard. And that slowing has allowed the riders to start again, to try and get ahead again. Because if there's splits within the group, as we saw before, GC teams will start to try and take advantage of it. Matthew van der Poel moving up to the front now with one of his teammates just in front of him. Hey, looks good that wide, doesn't it?
I knew you'd like that.
Of course I do, come on. Looks mint.
Fashionista Blythe returns. Mathieu van der Poel returning to the front of the race. Alpecin de Koning, they're going for a long spell, a drought for them in Grand Tour racing without winning a stage at the start here. And I say that as a compliment to them, because we are used to, whenever they've been racing and winning in most weeks of Grand Tour racing since they began. So here we are, Essoir, and we're going to go down to Hannah.
The run into Sector 11 is exposed, it's fast, you come off a main road, and just behind me, this is where they'll make the right-hand turn. They'll enter the sector with high speeds of 50-55 kilometers per hour. We're only 2.3 kilometers from the top of the 4th category, King of the Mountain of the Day, so you do climb along this sector. The big thing for me that I've noticed, having seen some of the other sectors, is this particular sector, whilst it's a 3rd-star sector and it's over 3 kilometers long, it's way more compact in comparison to some of the other sectors where it's essentially stones. Also, I think they filled in some of the potholes along here on this sector.
Thanks, Hannah. We'll be sending you to Lords next. Take the keys along with you. Pitch report from Hannah Walker there on Sector 11. Brilliant stuff from on the ground. Sector 11 is one of the most difficult, as is Sector 10. Next up, Sector 12. This, on paper, slightly easier. It's shorter, 1.4 kilometers long. But the 2 sectors after that, said to be the most difficult in terms of climbing and gravel all bunched together. So keep your eyes on it. And by the way, if you're big fans of the gravel sectors, this is what you've come for today. We've just gone through the longest period without a gravel sector in the race. They will now come thick and fast once you return off-road. The final sector today finishes with just 6.5 kilometers to the finish line.
You have to look here, Robin. The front of this group, the riders that are in it, you've got to take your hats off to the riders. Tom Pidcock, he's the rider that wants to win today's stage. He's managed to get himself in a breakaway. Stuyven, he's won many a classics. Monument in Milan San Remo, he's made it in there. Gianni Vermeer, ex-gravel world champion, he's made it in there. Ben Healy, we all knew he was the man of the day for EF. Then you got Derek G, a man that was second in the Dauphiné leading into this race. Axel Zingler, cyclocross rider. Aramburu in there, but I think they're supporting Lascano, a man that was up there in the classics massively, so he's got 2 other riders in there to support him. Alexei Lutsenko, 7th in Strada Bianca in 2019, and then Turgis, an absolutely solid rider. All the riders in there today feel to me like they're exactly each rider that each team wanted to be in that front group. It is one heck of a front group, that is.
In this group, more teammates are coming back for certain riders, including for Primož Roglic at Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. But as we've just been seeing, it's not too far to the next sector now, not too long. to get organised. What is happening though, Adam, you were just talking about how good that front group is. The gap's growing slightly. It's 1:44, having come down previously to around a minute and a half.
It is, if you look at this now, so it's a headwind coming into this next section. So we saw Vismalisa bike, we saw Ineos Grenadiers, and who was the other? And Gianni Moscon from Quickstep riding on the front hard to try and stretch that gap. Now it's all come back together, they've taken a back seat because no one needs or wants to ride that hard into a headwind. So a little bit of stalemate in a relatively small peloton. That'll be so the riders on the front can just recover enough, give them chance to get the food in, take a breath. A very nice bridge, narrow bridge, sorry, here, river bridge as well, Danny. So when they come, the riders will come into this, and this is a point where they'll want to be in positioning. So they need to be able to accelerate in that peloton into it. They need to have riders that can really drive up the tempo, string things out. And that's why we're seeing that gap just ever so slightly go out, because that peloton is just trying to recover for it.
A little narrow bridge there. You talk about this being like the classics. Reminds me of the Molenberg, that. You've got to be in position when you get to the bottom.
It's great, this kind of racing though. The tactics involved today, the tactics even within this group now, what each rider's thinking, everyone not knowing how each of the other riders are feeling, so trying to just judge that, do what they can to try and take less wind at one point, do the least amount of work at one point while trying to get the other riders rolling. And you've got this group chasing you behind that's going to speed up, slow down in between gravel sections as well. Judging your effort today is going to be absolutely key, especially in this final 50k, and especially when they get onto section 8, arguably the hardest section in this stage today.
Producer Doug reminds me, it's great when you're watching it, not necessarily when you're riding.
Oh no, like even when you're riding it, it's great. These days on the bike like this,
Says the man who never had to make the
Yeah, it depends what kind of rider you are, isn't it? Adam, you would absolutely love a day like today. Had a little bit of wind in there and you can rubbing your hands together.
In that gutter, an inch is all you need at the end of that gutter, and it can make the difference.
Now, we talked about Simon Yates earlier on, not having the best start in the general classification for this Tour de France. He started in 17th place at 6:01. He's currently a minute behind the yellow jersey group. He's travelling with Richard Carapaz, who of course was in the yellow jersey, but we were told not to expect too much from him. 7 minutes 57 down. Now you're thinking perhaps of going for stage wins later in the race. He was on the attack earlier on as we're over the Molenberg Bridge. Slightly bigger this one. Yes, Danny, at a proper river bridge. And up the hill they go.
I'll tell you what, Ira Hansen is some rider, isn't he? I mean, the break yesterday alone, and he's right at the front, and it looks like he's got Magnus Cort protecting him, and obviously they've got mountain points coming up, and that's very important. He's trying to grab them, but you've got to take your hat off to him after yesterday's efforts. He is flying.
He's a monster, isn't he? And we've been talking about it, how he put on 20 kilos. He was so malnourished that he delayed the onset of puberty and also grew 6 centimetres when he started fueling his body properly. I mean, it's working, isn't it?
I tell you what, I could put on 20 kilos easy. That is no achievement whatsoever.
This is the situation behind those UX riders moving up around Jonas Abrahamsen. Now we know that cycling's a really close-knit community in the world of Norwegian cycling, even more so. What happened yesterday, Andre Dreger, really hits hard. No words to explain. But there's empathy, there's support, and there is love. And of course, we're sending all of that as a unit, as a team, supporting everybody in Norwegian cycling. Those black armbands on the sleeves of all of the Norwegian and the UX riders are there in memoriam and to remember the late Andre Dreger. Kilometers to go. It's starting to string out in this Yates and Carapaz group. Are being pulled out as they're being forced to close that gap, Adam.
That's Yatesy on the front. Simon Yates is bringing this back himself. Dylan Groenewegen was a man that was doing the work, but Yatesy within touching distance, almost. Let's not forget that gap, 2:24 to 1:38. That's the front of that group. group on a small climb like this. If you can make the difference on your own like Yates can, this is the place that he has to do it, and that's why we can see him getting on the front, driving it hard, bringing it back himself. You can see here, these guys look like they're taking it relatively easy compared to what Simon Yates did, but this is the effort he has to make now to get back in.
Maximo Hills getting some mechanical assistance here. Dusty chain.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's the technical term for it.
No, I was going to speak more about that, but I'm not going to because I don't want to get anyone into trouble.
Oh.
Don't know if you're allowed to do that or not.
You didn't say anything.
I have to say, Rob, sorry, I was about to say talk about UAE there. UAE, we've criticised them a little bit recently for the team that's been here and not in those crucial moments. So far they have been. But you look at the workload they've had to do. They've not really had to do anything as of yet. You know, they're riding on the front now with Tim Wellens, but they've not been driving the pace. They've not been driving the tempo. Yes, they've been positioning Tadej into climbs, but they've not had to ride so far. They've not had to control anything. They've just had to look after Tadej, which is difficult, but they're getting an easy ride so far.
On to the start of Sector 12 we go, and this is the lead of Stage 9 of the Tour de France. We've had the longest interlude since we started the gravel tracks, but the Chemin Blanc are about to return. From Pitcock through the centre. Left-hand side as we look at it, the Lidl Trek multicoloured jersey that's unzipped belongs to Jasper Stuyver, and on the right-hand side Javier Romo, who's enjoying supporting Aramburu and Lascano. Off the tarmac, onto the gravel, a lead of 1:29 over the yellow jersey. This is 1.5 kilometres long as Aramburu returns from the car.
Just to note there as well, Rob, I talked about Stuyven and how he can handle himself in a groove and how to save energy. One very little thing he did there is on that climb, started right at the front and then just drifted back. Only 2, 3, 4 places, but you compare that to the guys who are behind and accelerating to try and make sure they're at the front of the group, just drifting back, just 10, 15, 20 watts less. If he does that throughout the day on each and every single one of these climbs, you imagine how much energy he's saving, and that's what you need to look at, the small little details if you're in that group today. It will come down to small details at the finish.
It looks as though they'll be really fighting now for the positions coming into this behind, because the gap is starting to come down seriously again. It's 1:15 behind. We can't see the yellow jersey group, but they will be fighting for position. You can see now this Melissa bike, top of your screen, UAE Emirates through the centre, and it's with them we're going to the radio now.
Guys, all together now, all close to today. Ivan, Rao, Adam, Juan. We need to start next sector in front.
It is UAE who start the sector in front, with Tim Wellens doing a big job. Left-hand side, just alongside him, Wout van Aert, who is now back in the group, and an extra set of legs, and very strong ones at that, to help Jonas Vingegaard. Behind you can see the white jersey moving up. This, in the meantime, is an issue for Sam Bennett. And Danny, it's getting very chaotic again at the front.
It is really chaotic, but UAE are taking control. So they have learnt from the other day when they were, well, Tadej was isolated in those crosswinds. Melissa bike in UAE doing a sterling job here. Tadej Pogacar just sat within that bubble of UAE. Those 3 riders taking control here. Just see where Primož Roglič is. He's a little bit further up than what he was on that previous sector where he did get caught out.
Roglič not there in that top 20 again yet. Remco's there with Gianni Moscon once again in front of him. Jonas Vingegaard with Wout van Aert, Christophe Laporte behind. Then he's got Tish Benut Jorgensen behind him. And then you've got Remco with, it looks like Lander in front of him now. Apologies. So Lander moving up, and I just think behind that we see a problem with one of the Arkea riders.
This is Nielsen Piles towards the back, and I can assure you that that is the team that has the yellow helmets. It's UAE Emirates. They're the leaders of the team classification, and at the minute, if they sneak away, no one will see them.
Hey, it's good to see Tim Wellens back in it. I criticised him. I had a message with him this morning. He had a right go at me.
Has he been listening?
Yeah.
You
See,
speak, Adam, they follow.
I wish. Slow down.
Well, they haven't slowed down here, because it's 1 minute now, the gap. Off they come. Tim Wellens at the front. More gaps opening up again. Again, this Melissa bike are with them. And once more, we ask the question, where is Primož Roglič?
He's about 10, 11 back, and that little split, Robbie's about 4 or 5 back from it. You can just see him there rocking and rolling a little bit, but this is what's going to happen on all these sections. Till it splits, eventually riders are just going to get more tired, more tired, more tired, but just look at the support Tadej Pogacar's got. Look at the support that Jonas Vingegaard's got. They've always got 1 or 2 or 3 riders around him. You look at Remco, he's got Landa with him. You look at Roglic, he's got maybe 1 rider with him. And here's a problem for
Jan Tratnik with a bike change here, and this is important because Jan Tratnik is the man that Jonas Vingegaard would take a bike off if he were there. As we say goodbye for the moment to Adam.
Yeah, he's also waiting for a bike change. Didn't want that wheel change from the neutral service car. He wants a bike from the team.
No, hang on. This is Jonas Vingegaard's bike, and it looks as though he has changed bike with Jonas Vingegaard. That was the number 1 on the back, so something has happened there with Vingegaard. Now then, Jorgensen's at the front. Van Aert is looking around. There you could see a little gap towards the back, and where is Jonas Vingegaard? Because there's been a bike change. Robbie McEwen's in. Has he spotted him?
He is chasing back on, and his team need to make a snap decision, and it's an easy one. Sit up now and go and get him.
Problems for Jonas Vingegaard at the Tour de France. UAE Emirates naturally are riding here at the front. The race is already on these gravel sectors. Evenepoel's right up there. Most of the Visma-Lease bike team still here, still waiting. We saw that it was Jan Tratnik who was waiting. You can see now, and this is Jonas Vingegaard, the defending champion at the Tour de France, putting everything onto the pedals. Is he in this group? I think he is.
He is. He's safe, but he should not be on his own. He should not be putting his nose in the wind to ride himself back up to the front. So the others knowing, because they would have had the radio communication, Jan Tratnik was on the spot. This is something they prepared themselves for, knowing that Tratnik had a matching bike size, saddle height for Jonas Vingegaard. But the fact the others just sitting at the front looking concerned is not good enough. They need to have gone back, and you can't just leave him on his own, because what if then something happens on his way back?
Well, Wout van Aert was still sitting there, still looking around, and that was Vingegaard coming into picture at the back on this descent here. And as we were saying previously, these gravel sectors now come thick and fast, and Vingegaard is still having to work himself. Look at this, another effort, just in case a split opens in front of him.
Yeah, he's trying to do everything he can now to make up these positions on the road. Like Robbie said, where are his teammates? This is a really fast bit of road as well. They descend down, and then there's only 3 kilometres until the next climb and the next gravel section. So he's having to do a lot of work on his own now, just picking 1 rider off at a time here. You can see
Van Aert.
Vingegaard.
So Van Aert had been waiting.
He still don't know he's there.
Now he is, and now it's the time to move him up further up. They've kept Jorgensen at the front, they kept other riders there. This is Laporte who is behind, so you can imagine that he did the first job before the camera picked up the fact that it was Vingegaard who had the bike change. Of course, we only managed to see that because we saw the number of the bike that was being held by Jan Tratnik. So there is an illustration of exactly why you need your teammates around you. The bike change is being the obvious one.
The quick bike change from Jan Tratnik, good, 10 out of 10. Laporte looked like he had waited. The fact that the others hadn't dropped back quite quick enough, not ideal, but they've gotten away with it. I tell you what, it's a huge improvement over the situation we saw with the Visma team 2 years ago on the cobbled stage. We're almost playing chicken across the road between groups, and bikes with saddles that were 14 centimetres too high, and so they've really gotten away with this one. But you see the battle to get back to the front, and Jonas wasn't able to follow Wout van Aert through that gap alongside Primož Roglic.
Just approaching 95 kilometres to go. We're between sectors. There's an issue here for Alpecin de Koning and for Robert Hees. We've just seen a massive issue for Jonas Vingegaard. It's game on. It's panic on. The alarm bells are ringing everywhere at the Tour de France. 43 seconds from the riders up the road to the yellow jersey. And before the chaos kicks off again, time for me to hand over to Carlton Kerr.
Thank you, Rob. You know, if Tadej Pogacar is a collector of both classics, Grand Tour titles, just about anything you could possibly throw at him, he will have looked at today's stage and thought to himself, you know, that's of all the big gold medals you get within this Tour de France for winning a stage, this one's going to be an extra special one. And the way things are going at the moment, you would not bet against him. Here is your handover, Robbie.
That looks like it's going to be Jasper Philipsen. I've just been looking on the tracker and seen that there was a group trying to chase their way back on that contained Jasper Philipsen, and that shows us why. He's had a puncture, also received away. Look at this close-up. Look how rocky this is. This you could barely call it gravel. It's a rocky road, and not the kind you consume and lick your lips.
Final thoughts, Danny? I know you're heading off for a break yourself.
Oh, I mean, this is a spectacle, isn't it? This is something really special here today in the Tour de France. We're going to see a little bit of everything here, but for now, the GC riders are safe.
Thanks to Danny. Thanks to Rob. You'll be hearing more from Rob a little bit later on. He's going to be carrying it home today. The golden thread for the rest of the day is Mr. Sean Kelly. I'm busy saluting as we stand right now. Robbie, phenomenal. We said about about your fortune that everyone's going to have ill fortune during the day. It seems that Tadej Pogačar has avoided just about everything. He has just had a measured run, and measure for measure, he is in the driving seat.
So far, he is without incident. But we said at the top of the day, it's not a question of when you have something go a little bit wrong.
Yep.
Or not if, but when, and how bad, at which moment, and how you deal with it. Visma Lease Bike, they dealt with that fairly well. The change was snappy. Let's not forget that Jonas Vingegaard is still on Jan Tratnik's bike and may require another change to his own personal bike. But if the course doesn't lend itself that, the way the race is being ridden, at least he can sort of plug away on Tratnik's bike and he can ride to the finish if necessary, but they may choose to try and get him on one of his own machines.
Next section of the rough stuff. Time for that golden thread I was telling you about. Sean Kelly, what a day of absolute drama. Can this front group, they hold a margin of 40 seconds. What's going to happen to their ambitions now that they know that Pogačar and a whole raft of others who would have an influence on the day are just sailing into the gap?
Well, it's not looking good for the breakaway. We can see the way the peloton is, getting very active in the yellow jersey group because to get into position, we see UAE the way they're pushing on there. And that is going to be the problem unless, we get a point where they will knock it off a little bit more, but I can't see where they can do that when you look at all the gravel sections they have to go through. So, it's going to be a real difficult one for the guys out in front to go on out of the breakaway. And this is what we were talking about for many months here at this stage today over the gravel. It's a risky one. Now for the GC men it's a little bit better because you have a bit more space. You haven't as much riders fighting for position up front as you had in the first sections, but still, as we can see here, the risk, mechanical problems at a time, and at this time anywhere on the sections, then you can be in difficulty trying to get back in, and that's where teammates are so important.
The Col de Frion is what we're dealing with as well as part of this gravel sector. It's 3 stars as you've just seen. 8 minutes or so for the best amateurs to come through here. They'll be zipping through before you know it. Average pace today is 47 kilometres per hour. Got back just a little bit from the heights, but as we ride along with Lozcano here, some hopes have been dashed, others still to bear fruit. 2.2 kilometres, 5%, with a maximum of 8% on the climb of the Côte de Valfrion. That's just the climb, don't forget. The gravel sector's longer than that, Robbie. It just extends either side of the climb and beyond.
And that's been all through today, where the gravel is not so regular in that it goes to the top of the climb. It might go halfway up and then a sharp turn off and then onto the bitumen and keep climbing again. I think that the key is, and a team like UAE will be thinking at this point, basically just keep this sort of tempo and definitely this position as far as you can through towards the finish. Just keep it regular for Tadej Pogačar. It's often the best way is Jonas Vingegaard. He comes back up, we saw him left of screen, making his way right back up to the front of the race. So the crisis has been averted.
Well, something got sensible as well is Honor de Lee. Backed out of his shenanigans from the top of the day where he was chasing down his own man and was just chomping at the bit, Sean. Robbie saying that he's probably broken a few teeth by chomping too hard on it. He then appeared to go pop. He's come back here and just rested up almost, and he's ridden a magic carpet ride of GC ambitions, and it may well be that Dali still has an option on this day, but how much power will he have been able to put back in his legs on such a frantic day, even within the bunch?
Well, as we see, Degenkolb here, another one with a flat tyre, trying to get the team car up and get change of wheel here, and that is going to be something we'll see a lot more of. But yeah, for Dali, he made a lot of effort in the earlier part of the stage for no gain, and the situation the race was in as well, we were asking why was he making those moves. He had a man in the breakaway. He's back in the peloton here. Has he done too much? That we'll have to wait and see, because this is all going to come back together, and it's going to be another battle to win the stage.
What a beautiful hill this is, and thankfully stabilised. The gravel has now just indeed run out. You can see how steep it is as well. This has been the most wearing day, never mind to watch, Robbie, but also obviously to ride. I find myself shredded.
Well, it's wearing for the riders, certainly. I am just buzzing from this stage. I'm enjoying this so much. Right from the get-go, the amount of attacking, and then what a parcours. There are people who have been against this, outspokenly against it, mostly team bosses, fearing the worst for the general classification contender. But this stage, being only just over halfway through it, it is absolutely brilliant and is 100% delivering on all the excitement that it promised. We've still got the break off the front at 40 seconds, looking like they may be wound back in, but it just now depends really, I think, on the way the GC contenders and their teams choose to ride from this point on. Just look how the peloton is decimated. It's a really thinned out group that's left. They could, if they wanted, sort of put it on autopilot, but look at the face of Tim Wellens. This is not just cruise control.
No, it's not. He's done an awful lot of work in this race already, and yet more being demanded of him. And the only reason he's doing this, Sean, is because Tadej Pogačar, I think, fancies the day.
Well, it is possible, and he is putting pressure on the challengers for the overall classification, and he's going to try, keep his team working on the front there. Also, by doing that, you're keeping, the position you need to be on the front of the race. Best place to be when you're going up these climbs on the gravel sections. You have a better view with just a number of teammates in front of you. And yeah, now we have 10 kilometers to the next section, so it's a short one again, and it's just going to continue on here. And as we get into the the final, the gravel sections, they come thick and fast, and for that reason there's not a lot of time where it will slow down a lot. For the breakaway, I don't think it's going to happen, because it's just going to continue at this real killer pace all the way over this final 90k.
The smoke just billowing across the dust, I should say. It looks like a bushfire up ahead, and they're screaming into it here, Robbie.
Well, the dust is a huge factor today. You're sometimes better off being in a position where you don't have a vehicle in front of you. You think you're at the front of the peloton, you'd be out of it, but the vehicle's in front, kicking up plenty of dust. And Pogačar looking so comfortable. Remco Evenepoel just over to the right in the white jersey, also just handling himself very well in these conditions. Looking further back in the peloton, things are starting to get strung out. They've changed direction again. They're getting a little bit of crosswind. Now look at the flags up there, so there is crosswind. Now look at the splits, the gaps in the field behind. I noticed a lot further back, Biniam Goumet was still looking quite good. Mathieu van der Poel sitting there. Now Pogačar making his own acceleration.
Yeah, absolutely. He knows that some of his main rivals have been struggling today with ill fortune, call it what you will, and he's decided to set the pace himself. Absolutely magnificent, Sean. Comes off a transition here, and he just wants his nose in the wind. Look at that gap, 39 seconds only, and he's leading the charge here.
Well, we know Pogačar, we've seen him in races like this, Strada. Tour of Flanders and those races. He's able to ride this sort of terrain very, very comfortably. You can see the way he pulls out the gap here. But you ask yourself, why is he doing this at this moment? His team is at the riding there at the front. Then he goes and pushes on here. It's better to leave the team do the job there, and not start pushing out in front here, because there's no reason to do it at the moment. But that's Tadej. He just likes to race, and he's just he does love this sort of racing. Down dangerous sense, around corners, gravel, all that, and here we go.
Well, you know what? The biggest climb of the race that remains is the next one, actually, the Côte de Chenonceau. And once he gets over that and through the gravel, to me, it's Tadej Pogačar terrain kind of thing here, Robbie. Why not show your hand right now? This is going to cause a lot of panic behind. It's for others to chase into the gap.
Definitely causing a bit of panic.
Yeah.
But the good part was that over the top, he may put the pressure on for about 100 metres and then just use the downhill to great effect opening up. And as Remco Evenepoel now crossing the gap, I just wonder who they think they may have caught out that might be in trouble behind, because I couldn't see Pogačar doing this just for the fun of it. I know he gets excited in situations like this and loves to race, but I wonder if there's just one of his rivals for GC have got themselves out of position.
Robbie, did Vingegaard get his own bike back?
We don't know that yet. I haven't seen anything of that. Further back, that is Vingegaard on the radio at the front of that group. He's got a teammate who's just gone across in Jorgensen. Yep.
Maybe that was the issue.
Yeah, and Laporte coming back, so he's on the radio. Christophe Laporte dropping back. So Jorgensen and Laporte followed the move. Laporte coming back to support Jonas Vingegaard, who's sitting there in fourth wheel while Ineos Grenadiers lead the chase.
Well, there's no need to panic here. We can see there's other teams that will start chasing, and immediately Ineos comes to the front here and start pushing on. But we could see Vingegaard there just giving the call for Laporte to come back. But it's an interesting one from Pogačar to do that. We know Roglic, he's the one who, showing that he's suffering today.
Yeah, sufferance, you talk about it. Here's the lead.
Well, I saw Delis labouring on that last climb, and he started quite near the front and finished just hanging on at the back of it, but then went into that crosswind over the top, and he's been distanced. Looks to be paying for the efforts that he's made today, but maybe also over the last few days been racing very, very hard, and today made some, I think, tactical errors early, using energy when he even had guys in the brakes in Drisner's and Maxim Vahils. So I think he may have just ridden himself out of this one.
I think you're right. He finished third yesterday behind Genet and Philipsen. Delis has been very much a feature. He was third on stage 3 as well, fourth on stage 5, fifth on stage 6. He hasn't stopped, and today I think he just his enthusiasm got the better of him, Robbie.
Yeah, I think it really did a bit. Looking forward to this so much. Order restored in the peloton. Visma Lisa bike back on the front.
Ineos Grenadiers, let's hear from them.
We don't have another long block of normal road like we just did, okay? The section's going to come thick and fast now, so get organised, get together, get in the front. Like we saw there, there's weakness in these other GC teams, okay? So let's get on the front foot when we can. Really good, guys, come on.
Sean, you punched the air then.
Well, here we go. Another team wanted to get on the front. There's not going to be room for all the GC teams on the front here, the way they're riding. And I think the director sportives, they're thinking and they're looking at the GC standings. Who is in difficulty here? That maybe they're not ahead of you in the GC at the moment. But if you put them under pressure, you could take advantage of this, and some teams will do that. But there's a long ways to go, 85 kilometres, and you cannot burn your team too early either. But going back to the leader, that was a crazy one to start. Where's the DS? Where's the DS at the in the car? He's seen this, the pictures as we're seeing. You have to be able to calm a young guy like this that's over anxious and just tell him, okay, Arnold, calm down a bit here. That brake is out in front, and just wait, play the waiting game.
Yeah, 100% agreed. They need to direct a guy who's young, first tour, excited, and just simply done too much, and could have easily been in this group had he just held his fire. But he's out the back and chasing, and maybe distance for the rest of the day, because in 6 kilometres time they hit sector 10 as we count down through to 1, and is the longer section. It's a 3-star section, so as difficult as any of the others. 4.2 kilometres. It is the longest gravel sector of the stage.
Yeah, it leads into the Côte de Chasseneuil as well. In fact, the gravel section goes right to the peak. Once we've actually dealt with that, they come thick and fast of varying lengths and intensity. There will still be a Category 3 test, but as we've seen, Robbie, earlier on, even the Category 1s, there seems to be no rhyme or reason. Some of the Category 1s have very, very difficult entries into them. We think it's about the stability of the surface, but it's not a given.
Yeah, it seems to be more about the surface and the gradient. But as you said, the tricky entrances like the very first sector we saw. For this next section, 4.2k long, they go over the top of the climb with 77.8 kilometres to go. It's another 1.8 kilometres on gravel from that point till they get to the end of the sector. Through to sector 9 then, the next next one coming after that is at 67 kilometres it starts. So they'll have about 9 kilometres from the end of Sector 10 to the start of Sector 9.
It's a nightmare. Well, it's glorious
It's a dream
entertainment
to
for
watch.
us. Yeah, I was going to say it's glorious for us. Still a very strong group. They've just kicked on a little bit here, Sean. They've stretched it back out to 54 seconds.
Yes, well, that is going to be the case. You know, there will be a time where it's a push on the main peloton, then the gap will come down, then it will slow down a little bit, and the guys working well together, you know, they will pull out a bit. But when you see that, you know, 55 seconds at the moment, still with 83.7 kilometres to go, it's a very slim advantage.
The action points come thick and fast here. We're rapidly approaching our next section of gravel. We'll be on it in about 3 kilometres time. It is the longest section that we've got. It's also deemed to be the roughest surface as well. I think its length will have something to do with the 3-star rating that's been given. How many stars do we give Delis? I think he's seeing stars at the moment, possibly. Not a good kind. It feels like he's been beaten up. And the trouble is, he's been hitting the punch back with his head. It's not been the best style today, I'm afraid, this fighting. And he's got himself just about knocked out. We're about to hear from the Yenzi, and then we'll be coming back to Robbie McEwen and Sean Kelly, who's sitting alongside me. Here is Jens on the bike. His thoughts.
Here comes a little piece of good news for the leading rider for Tadej Pogačar. German champion Nils Polit, big powerhouse, just coming back to the group. He will help to control this race, ride a hard tempo for his leader Tadej Pogačar. So Nils Polit back in the first peloton, and back to the commentator.
Jens sounds like he's got a bit of dust in his throat.
Do you know what? Jens could add drama into a licking of a stamp. I mean, whenever we throw to him, it's like, look at this, fantastic, he's coming back. It hasn't been anywhere yet.
I can't blame him. You really can't. If you're in the thick of the action,
Yes,
you're on the motorbike
absolutely.
and you are within the race, you get that adrenaline rush of the race. And I know when I've been on the motorbike in races, it is infectious. The aggression of the peloton, the speed, everything going on around, the sights and sounds. And today is the one day I'm envious of Jens on the motorbike, because what a spectacle. You're seeing so much action.
Yeah, it's an amazing place to be, Sean.
Well, with Yenzi, we've seen him, and you know Carl from the Tour of France, you meet him on the most boring day of the race, and he's jumping around, and you know, he's all action, and that's Jens Voigt, and he is like that. And of course on the motorbike, he's in the thick of the action, and we're getting it more so.
Yeah, it's true. I actually, just having lunch with him once, he said, "What are you doing with the prawns? Have you not seen the gambas?" There's always something better that he knows about.
Quick one here, guys, in this break. The calm face at the back, the bearded face of Anthony Turgis.
Absolutely no more than the other guys. And remember, Mywhoosh has 3 boys here, and you're in strong company. Strong company.
Keep your head down, basically. That's what that watchword is, Robbie. Sorry, you go on.
No, good advice. Do the same amount as the guy doing the least.
Yep.
And when you've got Movistar there, he's exactly right with that advice. But I just look at the very calm face of Anthony Turgis. He's also sitting on the back of the group. Arnaud Delis closing the gap again. He was at 16 seconds, and then they'll ride their way back. Fortunately for them, through the convoy, they didn't make what they call a barrage, the dam effect of holding the vehicles back and making you ride through the wind on your own. But I think the riding's on the wall. He's been rocking and rolling for a number of kilometres now. So just so much energy used. But they don't call him the bull of Lechery for nothing. Romain Bardet just thanking him for the work coming back. It'll have to be an incredible recovery, though.
Yeah, he's got big problems, and that's there's a major climb coming up, and gravel as well. So just as he gets back on, the punishment begins again. Raining down, the cudgel is held by these guys. And in fact, they're just about to make a turn onto the gravel section, if I'm not mistaken. So let's have a look. It's the climb that starts as the Côte de Chaussonnet. 3 kilometres long, 4.3%. But I've got to tell you, it's got a maximum which is far more difficult than that. On a couple of occasions through the climb, we're going to be nudging up to about 7 and 8%. Already at 6, as you can see. No easy task, especially this deep into the race, Sean, and how we've ridden it has been, well, it's almost like a sprint from the start.
Well, this has been a real difficult race right from the beginning of the zero, and it's going on, and it's going to go on for the rest of the race here, because what's up on the route in front of the riders here, the breakaway, the peloton, this is going to be a real energy sap for one, and it's going to be the strongest are going to survive here. And I'm sure the breakaway out in front are thinking, not again. Peloton very active, and it's not going to be where we get that magic 3-4 minutes at a point where they have a great chance of going into the final. It's really in the balance at the moment. It depends on what the peloton do, and the GC teams, as we can see, Visma Lisa bike, continue on to push on here. And as long as we see that, it's going to be a real difficult one, unless we see a number of riders in the breakaway pulling on out and getting to work real well together, because there is some of them there in that breakaway are going to be taking that bit easier, sparing it for the final.
The Lee going backwards almost immediately. They hit any kind of incline here. I'm inclined to think his day is done. 9% they're going to hit on this, Robbie.
Well, I was just going to say that the 4% average gradient doesn't tell the story of this climb. With his first kicker at 11%, you see them, the break up and out of the saddle, the low speeds. And Visma Lisa bike now taking control at the front for Jonas Vingegaard. Up alongside them now coming Tadej Pogačar, but with just one teammate, another one straggling another 6 or 7 positions further back. Remco Evenepoel popping himself straight onto the wheel of Tadej Pogačar. You can just see Pogačar just keeping a very close eye on Jonas Vingegaard, because when the road goes up, that's where Visma Lisa bike and Jonas can start to do some damage of their own.
Roglic is here, Evenepoel is here, so indeed is Pogačar, but Jonas Vingegaard seems to have an abundance of teammates around him, Sean.
Yes, well, I think there's a few of the teams there, the GC men have teammates around them, and it's the important part. We talked about that at the beginning of this race. Teammates are going to be so important to ride on the front when there's need to be. Also the mechanical problems that can happen to anybody, so it is of major importance you have men around you.
Yeah, and more coming back as well. Just starting to struggle a little bit in his Grenadiers, but as you can see, Red Bull have re-established themselves. Roglic is there. He's had so many troubles today. They'll be magnified.
You know who's starting to struggle?
Everybody. Yeah,
Wout
exactly.
van Aert, he is turning the screws, and look at the peloton splitting to pieces. Mathieu van der Poel still there in the line, a little fracture just up in front. It looks like Marc Soler from UAE in the yellow helmet closing that, but further back it's a scramble to get back to the wheels after that steep section. Wout van Aert just really starting to turn it on and putting everybody in trouble.
I'm just waiting to see the face of Tadej Pogačar, because at moments like this he often looks so cool, calm and collected. I think he probably still will be. He doesn't display his anxieties very easily, does Tadej Pogačar. I've often seen him jibbing himself on, just to get the whip hand out, almost comedically. He hides his angst very well, or is he just a genius at work, Sean? I think it's possibly the latter.
Well, I think a lot of these riders, they can ride this without any difficulty. If you're on a good day, well then, the big champions, they can do this, although some of them may be not as talented as others on it, but if you're on a bad day, that's where it's the real killer. And if you're struggling all day, when the screw is turned really by the teams on the front, notably Visma Lisa bike, well then you're going to be in that suffering position for a long time, and that's where you have to be mentally strong as well, because you have to keep on fighting and keep getting over those difficult sections, try and stay in contact and get this day over with. And that is something that all big riders go through, and you're hoping you're not going to get it on a day like today when the racing is real aggressive all day through the stage of almost 200 kilometres.
Very little wind around today, Robbie, which would have added yet another element to the troubles.
Yeah, just a breeze blowing today, not incredibly strong, but when you're really on the limit after these gravel sectors or some of these climbs, you top out and things open up and you just get the slightest breeze from either side. It feels like much more. And you've seen this what's left of the peloton really stretched out. Oh, the group at the back, I just had noticed before, Biniam Gourmet, fourth from the back of this group. They were slightly distanced on the steeper part. Just fought their way back on, but look at where the break is now. These gradients up around 14%.
Wow, unbelievable. It says 4%. I think they need to add a 1 onto that. It does go into a little dip. Maybe they're talking about averages here, and then there's a final lip before they get to the top, and then finally they'll be able to enjoy a little bit of respite as they come over the crest. But it's been a long climb, this one, Robbie.
Undersold it. It's actually 18.5% the steepest section that they just went up. So
you can see it's a wall.
Yeah, if you're already struggling on the run up to this and after the first part of the climb, this could be the section that really dumps a few out the back. And
Remco picks it up. He's gone. This is a display as well. We're seeing the prize fighters showing what they've got. Pogacar it was last time by, and now Remco Evenepoel kicks off. What's the response from Tadej Pogacar? He's sat within a phalanx here of Visma Lease bike riders with Jonas Vingegaard there, of course. This is a magnificent display. How long it'll last with 77.4 kilometers to go is anybody's guess.
Well, how long will it be allowed? Because we can see, Visma just continuing on to set a pace here. And when you look at 77 plus kilometers to go with the situation of the race at the moment, I think again the DSs will be looking at this and why is Remco attacking at this time. So it will be just a little bit hold off and see will he be allowed to ride on here. It's always good to get onto the sections, ahead, but still, if you're that good, you just sit here beside the other big favourites and follow.
I think impressive, but not necessary right at this moment. Remco, all his three main rivals are right behind him with teammates, and it's still 10 kilometres to the start of the next section.
I think it's a bit of bragging rights apart from anything else. He's seen Pogacar go, he's seen Vingegaard get back in with an army of teammates around him, and Evenepoel just wants to make a display.
Well, I think the bragging rights would be much better if you wait till maybe the second last section of the day, or maybe about 25 kilometres out, and then have
Here
a
we go. Response from Pogacar. He decides to kick on. Let's see what Vingegaard does in response. He's got teammates around him to help out if they've got the legs to do it. Now there's a long downhill section here. We saw the encouragement and the enthusiasm of Tadej Pogacar to take this on. Graded grains will indeed make a finer bake. What's cooking, Robbie?
Well, maybe it was the intention of Evenepoel to take a head start before they got on the downhill. We've seen the damage that Tadej Pogacar can do. Downhill on gravel, Remco would want no part of that if Pogacar went. But this is now playing into the move of Remco Evenepoel. They could have just banded their powers together as teams and chased him down, but doesn't Tadej just love to race? He's accepted the invitation.
Two dust kickers here in front of Pogacar and Vingegaard are chasing down. They have accepted the ticket to the prize fight, Sean. What a battle. Well, look at the gaps.
Yes, well, you can see the gaps, but when Pogacar goes, of course, Vingegaard has to follow here. He cannot allow, the two men, Remco, Evenepoel there here to get away because you never know what way they can ride. They're capable of, doing a 2-up time trial in the 76 kilometres. But it's not taking long for the man in the yellow jersey, Pogacar, to react here. And now we have three out in front. This will be an interesting situation now. What way they will, collaborate together.
Yeah, Remco looked over his shoulder and eased off, really had a few easy pedal strokes, let them come across. I think Tadej and Remco, they would be inclined to go on with this. I would say that Jonas Vingegaard will say, no thank you, I'll just sit here and wait for my teammates. He'll be much more conservative.
Breakaway nearly at an end. They won't say all together because it's altogether a different story today. We have a peloton that's been absolutely destroyed. If teammates have burnt themselves out to put the three principals in a good position, then that's worked an absolute treat. And here they are. Who's had the worst day? The three principal riders of the Tour de France just about to come to a group that's going to look behind and go, oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah, well, Remco's just swung off from a big turn on the front, and Jonas has just eased back, left the gap and said, in you go, I'm not going to work with you. And again.
There we are. Well, and a black look came back as well from Evenepoel there, Sean.
Well, leave him look. Leave him right on. And just, not get involved here. And it looks like that Jonas is not going to contribute at all here. Immediately he just flicks over to the riders coming back here. You can see again into Remco's and the elbows are going. We could see Remco just a moment ago when the two of them joined up with him. He was, waving the hand immediately, and he's also, really really up for this one. And this is a place where I think the man Vingengo, he's just not going to contribute for the moment, and waiting for the team to come up. It'll be interesting to pan back to see what's happening back there in the group now, and what the situation will be.
But Pogacar and Remco, true racers, like the adrenaline flows, chance to attack, bang off they go. 75 kilometres to go on a stage. They're going into the rest day as well. I think, well, let's use some energy. But Jonas Vingegaard, he's always going to stick to the plan.
Here we go. Catch the group and then just go to the head of it. They want to actually keep this gap going. Well, there you are. There's the group with Roglic at 23 seconds at the moment. So he's the man that's missed out on it, essentially. The three principals are up the road and watch to see if this gap extends. Are they going to be part of a willing engine room within this group, Robbie?
Well, there's not many left to do the chasing for Primož Roglic, and I just wonder, seeing that Jonas Vingegaard does not want to make any contribution to this group, and Tadej Pogacar waving him on yet again, I wonder if Jonas's team will just sit back and not do anything, or be in fact too worried about having him up there and isolated. What if something happens? What if he gets a puncture while he's up there and he's all on his own? Things start to happen. Remco or Tadej follow attacking moves from other riders in this group, and he finds himself in a really difficult situation. I think that's why the team would have said, be conservative, don't work with them, hope that everything comes back together. We need to stay strong together.
The gap is going up. It's out to around about half a minute, more than that, I'm sure, by the time some of you come back from the break. What another amazing page has been turned in this drama, Sean. It's phenomenal.
Yes, well, what a day they're putting up to us, and the big GC men, especially at this point in the race, when everything was under control, the breakaway, just out in front, and the team's working for them. But that is the mentality of the race is up today. Remco Evenepoel, Pogacar, that's the way they go about racing. But it will get more complicated now here, because as they join the breakaway, there's going to be a lot of riders saying, oh, we have the three big men up here, leave them do the riding now. And especially on these sections, you just sit on and wait, and you can see the damage behind. There's riders all over the place here, and just one line of riders. You can see that group where Pogacar, Roglic is trying to get back in, but yeah, all breaking apart once again here.
Derek G decides to kick on. Ben Healy was the first to respond, takes Lutsenko with him. Tom Pidcock as well doesn't want to be part of a group of favourites. He wants to have some fun today, and they look like they're looking at each other, at least just for now. It was a great piece of action though, Robbie.
Yeah, it's been shut down now, this break by the GC favourites. They get there and everybody realises, well, they've just messed this up for us. Counter-attacking move by Derek G, really good move. Looks like maybe Aramburu just left it a little bit late to try and jump, because the counter-attack that came from the original riders in this break, like Sturven as well, they've got a handy gap now in front, and I think they're going to be able to build a really nice lead over what's left, if you can even call it a peloton.
Still giving out.
Stalemate now.
Look at this. Right, I'm not doing it. They've all sat in on Vingegaard's wheel, and you go, okay, I don't mind. I'm just going to sit up then. The man who was giving out most there was Evenepoel. He's just not happy at all with the way this has panned out.
Well, it looks like that Vingegaard is, waiting for his teammates, and if you're in Vingegaard's situation, you're up against the two riders here. Maybe at the moment they are better physically. They come into this race in better shape, and then you rely more on your teammates as well in the final, because if you get into a bit of difficulty on the final sections, in the final 30 kilometres, for example, if you have a teammate or two teammates around you, come off the gravel section, then a teammate can do a huge job if you're just losing a bit of contact, a bit of ground on the other big favourites, notably, the two men we see here.
Well, Jonas has just pulled the plug out of this completely, as in, like, the generator was getting really fired up, and he just pulled it straight out of the PowerPoint.
He hasn't got the 50p for the meter. He said, no, stay in my pocket.
It's interesting and really good for Tadej Pogacar is how many teammates he's got here. You see the men in the yellow helmets right in the middle of the road, 3 in a row. So Wellens is still there, along with Juan Ayuso, and also Tim Wellens, man we expected to be. In fact, no, it's not. It's Almeida.
little bit of a change of tempo going on here. Is it Kentin Pacher who's just gone off there? Well, if you've been away, we've had a little bit of drama, but basically it's been quite a bit of verbiage going on. The bridge was made by Tadej Pogačar, Jonas Vingegaard, and indeed Remco Evenepoel to the front group. It then shattered, and because of the work rate that was being offered up or not being offered up by Jonas Vingegaard, who refused to take a turn, Evenepoel set up, so did Pogačar, so our front group now has been re-established, albeit yet more selectively, I think it's fair to say. Tom Pidcock is actually at the front of the race, so is Ben Healy, Derek G, Alexei Lutsenko as well, and one other, I think it's possibly Jesper Stable, we'll wait and see. However, there is no longer an accord between the three amigos up front, not so amigo, I can tell you, not amicable, just for now anyway. But you know what, Sean, you know, this is pro racing. You're not supposed to make friends out there when you're on your bike.
No, you certainly have no friends when you're out on the bike, and we see the riders when they finish, you know, they're the best of buddies, but that's the way they race, you know, they just, at times, you'd wonder why some of the riders attack, but you have to be ready and you have to respond, and, you know, we did see Vingegaard, he responded very quickly, and, yeah, it's really killed off the break here. We're back to normal now again, and this is going to be an interesting one, you know. How much will they be allowed to get now, the guys that are out in front here? We can see UAE Wells just start setting the pace, and there'll be a lot of riders happy with this. A bit of a rest period now as we go inside the final 70 kilometres. Drink plenty, eat plenty, and try and get ready for this final, because this is going to all start over again.
Yeah, well, they'll need a breather after that last stanza. But we've now got the original break split in two, chasing each other. This the front, Pidcock, Stoven, Ben Healy, Lutsenko and Derek G, then being chased with Maxim van Gils, Alex Aramburu, Lascano, the two men from Movistar. Romo also in this group, and Anthony Chisio. Romo, I didn't see him there actually. But they're going to rebuild the gap. Look, they're nearly back out to a minute, that first group of the break that's split in two. Reforming behind here, I just saw Biniam Gourmet also make his way back on in a small group that contained Michael Matthews as well, so very few fast men left over. Mathieu van der Poel, he's been there the entire time in that front group of favourites.
What an amazing day. Well, we're coming over a little peaklet here. It's non-categorised. As if it seems that the road's actually been going up or down for, well, for quite some time. I can't remember a flat section that we've had. Just on a little plateau at the moment. And we'll be coming down to the Plateau de la Côte de la Barre, non-categorised climb, that particular coat which we're going over right now. And so the impetus is back with those who find themselves out front. Aramburu, the Spanish champion, in a great place, as you can see. The wind described to us by the windmill here, yeah, which is absolutely static, unlike the race here, Robbie.
Yep, just poles with spiky bits today. Mike Schuster, Javier Romo is there, that is in the Movistar man that's with Aramburu, and they have now lost Oyer Lascano from the front of the race. That's the difference between the two front groups, which was the one breakaway. But pushing out now to over a minute ahead. Well, there's a bit of a breeze now, so it's coming and going, not enough to turn the windmills, but certainly if you look up and you see the angle of those flags, you just push yourself to the front, just in case. Here's Biniam Gourmet towards the back.
Oof.
Small group.
Yeah, but he's done very well, actually, Sean, to be up here, hasn't he?
He certainly has, and you know, he is out here with a big morale today, and he's going to, you know, try and hold on and see what happens in the final, see what the situation is out front. If the breakaway is big numbers, well then there's not going to be much up for the green jersey classification, but at the moment it could all come back together, and it could be a situation where you get an opportunity to go for another stage victory. And you know, sometimes the riders, like Gilmay for example, you just follow, and sometimes when it gets really difficult, if you look around, there's riders losing contact, Yeah, you can risk that and just not go into the deep, into the red too much, and leave the other riders do the chasing to get back in. And at the end of the day, by doing that, you can have a lot to contribute at the end of the stage.
Sector 9, 2.2 kilometres, a one-star section. So in terms of today's gravel sectors, one of the easier sectors. But look at the battle to get onto it first. Christophe Laporte versus the men from UAE. Tadej Pogacar going to turn on third. A flatter section up here on the plateau. But what's more important about this sector is that leading into the next sector of gravel, Sector 8 is described as one of the tougher sectors that they'll tackle of today. 3.9 kilometres, the next sector. The one they're on now starting with 67 kilometres to go, and the next one chases it up pretty quickly afterwards at 58k to go.
I'm not surprised this is a long shot, and I guess for the breakaway it might well prove to be, both literally and metaphorically. They've disappeared into another cloud. I'm just about to do exactly the same. Rob Hatch is here to take you through the rest of what has been the most stunningly dramatic day of racing, a special day that we'll remember forever, Robbie.
Thank you very much, Scott. 14 gravel sectors, 32 kilometres in total, and well, still 9 to go here. 8 and a bit with Laporte on the front, Wellens alongside him, and their two respective leaders behind. Jonas Vingegaard, Tadej Pogacar. Here comes Wout van Aert to lend some assistance. The wind is howling, and Primož Roglic still sitting around 10th, 15th, even 20th place back at times. Playing a dangerous game, as now he's moved up on the far side with Jai Hindley trying to make it up the road.
Now we're Hindley moving forward to Primož Roglic. Well, I guess I wouldn't call it playing a game. He's just having to undergo this stage and just make the best of it as he goes along, and just he's been in the position of sort of chasing all day long while the others are more aggressive in their ride. Well, Jonas Vingegaard not aggressive, but he's responding very well to the aggression and hasn't missed a beat just yet. Turning off this sector, or at least through a corner of it, off it now. That's the end of the sector, so a one-star sector just over 2k long. It's now just 7 kilometres to Sector 8, which is a 3-star sector, 3,900 metres. That's what they're going to be worried about next.
What a sight. It was always potentially problematic, wasn't it? But it might even be perilous this today now. And a real battle just to be in the right place. That wind's still causing almost as many problems as the gravel under the tyres. Keep your eyes on the bikes as well. Remember when that group of 3 went away there, Jonas Vingegaard was still on Jan Tratnik's bike.
And I don't think he's had a chance, has he, to change just yet? I actually haven't taken a look at the frame number on his bike to double check that, but certainly the race has been moving rapidly ever since he made that swap.
Off Sector 9, but there's 8 to go. And every time we get near one, there are nerves. Every time we get near one, that gap closes a little bit short. It's 52 seconds now. The breakaway has broken up into 2. We're minus Van der Lascano now, but Romo's still there. Aramburu's there at 15 seconds. You're looking at Bettiol here. It's just a case that there's riders all over the road.
Well, it's going to be that situation, as we can see. The man from Decathlon here, he's having a difficulty, Gal, because this is not his terrain at all. He doesn't like this sort of stuff, but he has to fight there because he's a man for the general classification, and yeah, he wants to be in a place where he can strike in the big mountain stages and pull back a lot of time. But yeah, this is going to continue on in the same situation. But the breakaway, they got the second bite of the cherry as such, because the race situation coming across with the 3 big favourites, and now they're out there again. But still, every time we come to a gravel section, it's going to be the same situation. The gap will come down very quickly because of the fight back in the group of favourites to keep that good position that teams are going to drive it on.
Robbie Adams asking me, where's Remco sitting? He thinks he might be too far back.
Little bit further back, but still within this group. And you look at the back of that group now, they're more bunched up across the road. You see that they've got through the worst of that little crosswind section that's sprung up over the top. A few riders tailed off, just chasing their way back on, including Davide Formolo and Lawrence de Plus. But the big GC favourites all safely ensconced in this group. Remco just a bit further back than the others at the moment. But safe.
For now. 146 back to the polka dot jersey. The lines here riding at the front.
There's Remco.
Pogačar, 2 more wheels behind Remco on the south, well, the bottom of your picture. Just on his wheel, by the way, is Primož Roglic. So they are sat together.
Mid-group, there's Mathieu van der Poel, who, since those early couple of accelerations on this stage to join bigger breakaway attempts, he's just been sitting in this group, riding along, not riding aggressively, just biding his time, but gee, he looks good.
Listen to Remco's team, yep.
Also remember, Remco, the Vingegaard is still on the bike of Tratnik. He's still on the bike of Tratnik.
Well, you heard that from Tom Stales. We mentioned it could be the case. Sean, is that something they've got to think about in the front? Or they do their own thing?
Well, maybe there's something to read into that, and that's why we see Remco going in the attack, not allowing Visma to give the opportunity for Vingegaard to change bike and keep him under pressure on that way in. Yeah, Remco is probably looking already at this race when it finishes in Nice. 2 weeks time, let's forget, it's a long, long road to get there. But yeah, maybe he feels that this is an opportunity to take some time, and that was the reason to go in the move there we see a bit earlier on.
61 kilometres to go, with less than 8 kilometres, 8 sectors to go now. 8 sectors to go, less than 3 kilometres to get to sector 8. And UAE Emirates are on the front alongside Visma Lease bike. Ineos Grenadiers in and around Carlos Rodriguez.
All our viewers on Eurosport were away on a break. We've just been discussing the fact and hearing over the race radio from the Soudal Quickstep team that to remember that Jonas Vingegaard is still on the bike of his teammate Jan Tratnik. They are of a similar stature, but Jonas Vingegaard 175 centimetres, Jan Tratnik 173. And the way they're built, I would assume, and I'm pretty certain that Jonas Vingegaard would ride a slightly higher saddle height than Jan Tratnik, so he's probably sat a little bit low to what is ideal for him. And I had the impression that through that quick-step radio communication, they'd quite like it if the pace stayed high to keep him on the wrong-sized bike. Even if it doesn't end up being the difference today, you've got to do everything you can throughout the 3 weeks to keep your opponents on the back foot.
The pace high, Sean, even at the front here, still 7 seconds between these two at the front. But not just the pace being high, but there's not much room between gravel sectors now to stop for a planned bike change, is there?
No, that is the problem here. It's not like in a normal stage where you have, just asphalt road all the time and you can make the change and get back in the cavalcade of cars. This is a real complicated one, getting in after a mechanical or a bike change, because when you go on to the gravel sections, this group is going to blow apart again, and if Vingegaard go changing the bike, they will definitely up the pace, and that will blow a lot of riders out. So then there are gaps all over the place, and you have to try and get across all of those gaps. So he's waiting and hoping they will have a chance where there's a number of kilometres on the normal road to make the change quickly, but for the moment they feel it's too risky.
2 kilometres to the next section, 3-star section, nearly 4 kilometres long, and Remco Evenepoel sitting in the back of that group. Not a big group, so not overly complicated to make a move towards the front, but you're inviting danger. If you sit back, others see it, and they say, well, now let's get him under pressure.
Coming up to the next sector on the books at 58 k's to go. You can just see the sponsors' holdings put up through what is normally a quiet, peaceful residential road in the middle of the Champagne Hills. In 58 k's time, there's going to be a cork popped. There might also be a consolation drink or two if anybody loses time. Here at the front, Derek G's done quite the job. Ben Healy's still with him. Alexei Lutsenko, Thomas Pidcock and Jasper Stover. 5 seconds to after the next 3 riders, including Aramburu, as well as his teammate Romo. Turn onto the next sector. Here we go. Sector 8. Not even halfway through the sectors yet. 3.9 kilometers long this. Finishes in Magnon. Looks as though we're about to get contact between the 2 groups and have 8 at the front. Behind, keep your eye on Jonas Vingegaard. Keep your eye on Visma Liesebike, because we see riders going wide into the grass there. Oh dear.
I was just going to say, Rob, the complication here is going to be with the turns. You saw the piling up of the gravel in the middle. Before I got a chance to say it, they've gone over that pile. You completely lose traction, hard to take the corner. So really pay attention to that when what's left of the peloton comes through, the group of favourites. That is the type of thing when your concentration levels are down, you're under pressure, you can make a mistake on that sort of section through one of the bends, loose gravel, off you go into the field.
Look at the size of those stones, and no wonder they're fighting to have the right line here. They'll have been getting that information. We've been getting it all day long about certain sectors. These teams will have been much more meticulous than we have been in the preparation to see each and every entry and exit. There they go, left turn, across the bridge. On we go. It is UAE, Visma Liesebike, and a reminder, yes, Jonas Vingegaard, defending champion, is still on his teammate's bike. It's not just the saddle height, but also the length of the stem. Tratnik riding a 140. Apparently Vingegaard rides a 125, so there's a 15 difference in reach there.
Yeah, they're more stretched out, and here we go.
And on the left, it's
Remco Evenepoel.
Oh, Evenepoel. Evenepoel has been caught up. He's on the stones, and Remco Evenepoel, who wasn't right at the front, is in a little bit of trouble now, Robbie.
But exactly what we just spoke about. We saw it happen in that front group, through the bend, across the middle, where you've got that hump in the middle of the road, either side of, in the middle of where the tyre tracks are. Accumulation of gravel, and there's a number of them who've got that wrong. And Remco Evenepoel, now he was aggressive about 10 kilometres or so ago. Now he's got a little bit of a chase on his hands, on the radio too, through to the team and to Mikel Landa. He likes someone to drop back, or someone. He needs Landa to drop back and try and pace him back on.
Enric Mas just alongside him, struggling to pick his own lines. You could see Felix Gall, who struggled all day. But Evenepoel, not with a wealth of teammates here, Sean, and 150 metres in distance. But all of those riders and a lot of traffic to get through.
Yes, a lot of traffic to get through, and you have to be able to read what's coming up from the director sportif as well, get the information, and be exactly in the situation where you need to be. And Remco, going a bit too far back there, that is playing with fire big time. And you see, he gets caught out, and then you have to make that effort to get back in, and he will get back in, of course. But all of those efforts, can pay at the end of this one, and still just 56 kilometers to go. As we can see here, he's going to have to make a big effort to get back into the end of the group of the other riders that he needs to be, more notably Pogačar and Vingegaard.
And there's still almost 2 kilometres of this sector to go, Robbie.
And see what Remco's just done there. He's a once bitten, twice shy. He stayed on the right-hand side. Instead of trying to apex the corner, follow the wheel track around the outside to not have to go across that really loose gravel on the inside section of the corner. So the chase continues for Remco. Still no Mikel Landa, who's the only teammate for Evenepoel in that front group.
Well, I don't think Landa will be much good to him here. He's a rider that's going to just fight to stay in the front, and allow Remco to do what he does well. Just time trial back to the end of this one, get over this section, get through it, and then hopefully he will learn for the next ones that he cannot go into a section of gravel in a situation. He has to be really in that top 5-7 riders. But that's the problem with Remco. He doesn't like that, elbowing and fighting to get into the position. He's not that sort of rider. And I think we're seeing the reason he did attack. He wanted to try and get up the road with the other 2 men and just do a 3-up time trial. And that way, it's so easy then. And if you're feeling real strong, as Remco probably is, well then it's the best way to do it. But it did not work out for him.
No chance for a breath yet. Still 1.2 kilometres to go towards the end of this sector, and that's for the group right at the top of your picture. The group that's ahead, 105 ahead. This is the yellow jersey group. This is where we concern ourselves with for the general classification, and maybe even a stage win. Let's not forget, Van der Poel's just been following here all day long, not doing anything wrong, not committing too much. He knows racing, he's a nose for it, and he's continuing to follow as Remco Evenepoel for the moment is back on in the group, and he's sitting on the wheel of his teammate Mikel Landa.
Yeah, it's almost like the worst of this section is over, and once they get off this sector, which is a three-star sector, the maximum difficulty on this stage, the next 5 sectors are all one-star sectors. They're 2.2, 1.2, 1800 metres, 1500 metres and 1.9, so they're not really long sectors. They don't seem to be particularly difficult. Doesn't mean that they're not treacherous, because it depends on the speeds, the aggression at which they're being taken, and at some point when this group remains at a minute, and I'm not saying just yet, but coming into the last 25 kilometres, it's when the likes of Mathieu van der Poel might need to start making a move rather than just relying on it being ridden shut gradually by the teams of the GC contenders. Problems here,
and it's Zangler. Axel Zingler with an issue there and requiring help, and I'm afraid for him near the front of the race, that is going to spell the end of any hopes of that.
He'd already been off the group, sort of yo-yoing backwards and forwards on the harder sections. The very last thing he needed was a problem with another chase, but that's exactly what he's got. Little uphill pinch here. Well, little. It won't feel little to anyone who's struggling. That is a steep kicker. Lutsenko now putting the pressure on, and Healy going with him.
Lutsenko has won gravel races in Italy, let's not forget, the Serenissima gravel. That was one of the first races we had road riders participating en masse a couple of years ago.
Gran Camino?
He's looking really good.
I think he's been really good in Gran Camino in the past too. I seem to remember he smashed everybody. Stove and a true classics rider, the Belgian. Been a winner of Milano Sanremo, but you look at any of the Belgian classics, he's always there and thereabouts, and a man doing damage on the most difficult cobbled sections. He'll be loving this.
Jasper Stuyver, who is the European gravel champion at the moment, winning on home roads and off roads up near Leuven last autumn. And he's making a move here. Now then, Laporte. Keep your eyes. Being followed well by the yellow jersey. Van der Poel is not far away. Mywhoosh still up there. Looking a little further down to see Roglic in about 15th position. Evenepoel much further back, and a split opening. Evenepoel following.
We can see Evenepoel there a bit further back. Ayuso, Almeida quite a long way back, and yeah, that is maybe the sign of some of the riders from the leaders team starting to struggle a bit, but we can see out front also everybody is starting to show the signs of the fatigue setting in here, and now it's going to be a question, how long will this be left until maybe Van der Poel goes, but yeah, Pogacar as well, he's another one that could try something from a long ways out, so as a GC man, you have to keep your eye on the yellow jersey. You have to be close to him at all times when you go through the very crucial moments.
Oh, Wout van Aert struggling now, but he's been doing all that pace setting on the front for Jonas Vingegaard, so that's just starting to, well, not starting to, it is bitten Wout van Aert, but to be expected with his limited preparation coming into the Tour, but what a job he's done so far.
Hugely important, as there are 52.5 kilometres to go and 58 seconds now between the front of the race. It's Vlasov who's in this group, Morgan as well. Vlasov, Sean, we've seen him hanging perilously at the back of all the groups all day long, haven't we?
Yes, well, he has been also in difficulty quite a number of times, and yeah, when you make the efforts, when you get distant, you have to make an effort to get back in maybe. All of that is paying in the end, and paying at this point is not looking good for him, because you know he's also a man I think they would like to keep up there and look after the leader in the final, but it's shown with all the teams that there is riders starting to show the efforts they've put in.
Tom Pidcock out of the GC hunting stages. This is his terrain. Came to visit this region as early as November to have a look. Now, Stuyver made a move and he's been caught.
Just talking of Pidcock, Robert, and Adam's come in. He's set to join us in commentary very soon when I take a rest. But Tom Pidcock starting to rock and roll, and the shoulders coming up closer to the ears. Those sort of little telltale signs. He looks like he's quite fatigued and maybe starting to struggle, while guys like Derek G and especially Ben Healy look really strong as Walt van Aert has now returned to the group. The pace has gone down, straight back to the front for Van Aert. He'll just ride until the needle has gone past empty.
And closer to the front now for Evenepoel, Sean.
Yes, well, it's not a surprise to see that Evenepoel is going to ride more to the front, and I'm sure Tom Steeves has given him directions. Okay, you have to take the risk. You have to, stick your elbows out and make a bit of room when it's not there, and fight for your position in the top of the chasing group, or the group of big favourites here. And when you get into difficulty like we've just seen there on the previous section, you cannot afford to do that anymore. And now we're getting into this final 50 kilometres. A lot to go of the gravels, but you never know with the guys that you're up against in the fight for this win in the Tour of France, so you have to be in that position.
Problems there for Binyam Girmay, who was going backwards. Was that a puncture?
I'm trying to tell if it was a mechanical, if he's just dropping back to try and get the team car and get a bit on. He's been on and off. He just made his way back on before. And we've had a crash into the ditch there.
The left-hand side into the ditch. Left-hand, it's a Red Bull Hansgrohe rider into the ditch on the left-hand side.
Had the impression it may have been Vlasov. Just caught the edge of the road.
High up. It's happened high up, right down into that ditch there.
He's caught the edge of the bitumen, that lip where the road goes down. He's caught his wheel on the edge of it, and it was Vlasov. Just caught his front wheel and just catapulted him off the side of the road. He's absolutely dazed. Oh, this needs some medical attention.
Well, the mechanics are told here to look out for certain signs. They have cards with things to look out for.
Just watch his wheel. It's actually, I think his back wheel gets just off the edge. It high sides him off the bike straight down into the ditch. That is such a heavy fall.
Just to note that, I'm just going to come in quickly, is that he had one hand on the bar. He's got bottles down his back. So I think he was given a bottle. The back wheel just slipping down that little bit of the tarmac where Robbie just mentioned. But yeah, I'm very, very worried about him, the way that he got up there, because he was stumbling and wobbling. So I do
We're
hope
just going to welcome back our TV viewers, and we'll inform them of exactly what's happened. A very warm welcome back to the final 50 kilometres of stage 9 of the Tour de France. You're looking at a gap of 1:13 from the now 8 riders in front, back to the yellow jersey group that has just had an enormous scare, because Alexander Vlasov, teammate of Primož Roglic, has had a very nasty crash. He hit his head. He looked very dazed when he got up. Initially, you could see the mechanic sort of holding him, and I thought then that he would not be allowed to carry on. Now, this is a really difficult thing for a mechanic to have to do. Of course, there has to be a confidence in there that you can hold someone back there. You know, you're talking about somebody really important. But we know now, gentlemen, that if there's any doubt, if there's a worry, riders have to be checked before they continue.
And I'm going to be honest, that check wasn't carried out. The mechanic, it's not their area of expertise, but everybody has had to go through concussion protocol training to look for signs. The mechanic is trying to get him underway. That really, for mine, requires a head injury assessment.
This is how it happened. Look at the middle of the peloton there. This is Bernard at the back, and on the left-hand side, look at that. That's an awful, awful impact. And Sean, I could see you watching, wincing, shaking your own head. It's a nasty one.
Yes, it is a nasty one. We could see there when Vlasov got to his feet, he was a little bit shaky, dazed a bit, and the mechanic, he should have held on for a bit more and do the check, as we hear about, but he let him go very, very quickly. But it'll be an interesting one now to see how he looks like that. He's saying, yeah, all okay. The medical car, the medical assistant coming up, we can see the elbow, a lot of blood there, but yeah, looks pretty okay now.
Now, this isn't just us freely criticising, and you know we know this is difficult. We know this is a really difficult thing to do, and I welcome the fact that we have increased visibility around it. But it is a strange sport to do that. You can't stop the match like you can in other matches. You can't get it 2 minutes before you then restart, take them off the pitch, get them on. You have to keep them up there as well, because if he is all right, it's such a difficult thing to get right. The good news is the medical car's there, and the proper professionals can now carry out the assessment.
And they'll deal with the initial injury, the blood streaming from the elbow. They'll deal with that, but then the thing they'll be doing at the same time, asking questions, just assessing for themselves how bad any potential concussion could be for Alex Blasso. Let's wish for the best, hope for the best for him, and the race pushes on. I'm going to push off, and I'll see you in the breakaway.
Robbie in the breakaway with Orla and Danny waiting for him. Adam will join later on. He's with me and Sean Kelly in the commentary box now. We're on to Sector 7. You've got Grass in the middle. Welcome back, Adam. I know you've been watching on. You're enjoying today's stage like all of us. It is incessant entertainment.
Hey, if anyone says anything about gravel racing, they can do what? This is the best racing blooming day we've had so far in this Tour de France. But there's a few things interesting in there that I messaged you about, Rob, and it's UAE and Visma. You know, UAE have got the yellow jersey. They should be taking control of this race, but they're not doing, and they are doing at times, but it's almost like Visma leads the bike and UAE are having that. I can't really say what I said to you on a message. The windmilling.
No, you can't. You
the
can't.
windmilling. They're trying to show who's strongest. They're trying to show who's the best team. They're trying to show we're stronger than you. No, you're not. We're stronger than you. But they don't need to. They can benefit from just playing their mind games, thinking, letting them think they're better. As they enter Sector 7.
And it's Wout van Aert who is still there, coming back after being dropped earlier on. That yo-yoing of the gap continues. It's 1:18 right now. And at the front, Van Aert is about to be joined by Joao Almeida, who moves up.
Did a fantastic ride for Joao Almeida. Ayuso's in there as well. Both of UAE and Visma Lease bike, both with 4 teammates around their leader. So 4 teammates for Jonas Vingegaard, 4 teammates for Tadej Pogacar. It's perfect for them so far. The perfect situation, the right amount of support. Wout van Aert just yo-yoing to him from the peloton. Every time he gets dropped, he comes back on, delivers over the next gravel section. Remco staying.
Listen to the chaos down there. The horns beeping, the crowd screaming, riders shouting.
Yeah.
So much going on as they're into this headwind on this little bit.
Remco right up towards the front now as well. He's not making that mistake again, as we see Gamay getting back into the fold.
One to watch today. Could it be a hat-trick?
And maybe treble ahead.
Now then, a little further back, a nod, and look at that, there's blood everywhere as well. That really was a nasty one. I mean, it's nice to see him okay and back. Let's hope he's feeling all right at the end of this and he can continue. And thankfully now, he has had the correct attention he required.
Yeah, fingers crossed for Vlasov. I'm getting intrigued to know, with 45 Ks to go here, is this group just doing this now as a GC group, as they treat on a mountain stage, but they've done the big mountains and now it's a case of getting to the finish safely? Or is one of these guys thinking of a stage win? Because if they're not, the likes of Van der Poel, Gamay, what are they going to do in this situation now? Because this is when it starts to get interesting. The attacks come for the stage win within the peloton. The GC riders start to follow that as well. It's a game now of stage win, GC. Sean, what do you think?
Well, I think for Guilherme, it's all about just hanging on here and trying to get through and see what the situation is at the very end of the final sector, the final 2 sectors that we can see here. You know, more difficulty just coming off, and that is the danger point. When you come off the gravel, the sandy road, you come onto the tarmac and the dust there. We often see the Paris-Roubaix where you can slide out, but I think with the 113 back to this man, the yellow jersey, this is going to be a real danger one, because Pogacar is going to try something here in the final. When he well, onto the grass, it's not a problem there. Dry, plenty of grip, just leave it run a little bit wide and do not panic at all. But yeah, this race is going to, you know, explode, I think. And at what point will it be? That is the big question. And you have to be ready here. As a GC man, I think, yeah, the others will have to take big attention to Pogacar, because we know the style of racer he is. He is going to try something in the end, and you have to be, just alert at all times. And as you get closer to the finish, you have to get more and more focused and watch where he is and be ready to make the move with him, because he will go through a gap. If you have teammates around him, he take that 20, 30 metres in advantage, unless you're really good, to close him down. But the interesting one will be the world champion as well. He's just sneaking around here all day and just following the wheels. He's another one, I think. If he's on his day, he's definitely going to, blow this group apart.
We're on to the longest sector without gravel roads now until we get on to the next one, and until we get to the finish, in fact. Now, there's a chat going on here. I'm intrigued as well as to see what you said about Van der Poel, because it's a different Van der Poel performance, this, isn't it? Normally it's sort of heart on sleeve, out there, flexing his muscles. This is clever. This is following, as Sean was just saying.
This was, I forgot what race it was last year where he rode Liège. Liège where he was second, always on and off, yo-yoing, but he got second. He's got a good chance today, but he needs to catch these guys first.
Well, the new situation remains like this. 8 riders, 1:16 is the gap. Back towards the Lac d'Orient, which we passed earlier on today. And we now have 4 one-star sectors approaching, and then 2 two-star sectors to finish off. The last of which finishes with 6.5 Ks from the finish.
Remco and Tadej were just having a little chatter as they came out of there, and then we saw the attack early from Remco, Tadej chasing him down, Jonas getting on the wheel. That came to nothing. As we see an attack from
here
Michael
from
Matthews.
So does this launch Mathieu van der Poel into his search for the stage, Sean? Are we going to see a reaction now?
Well, talking about Van der Poel, we can see that there's more reaction, and who will do the chasing here? There we go.
And now Van der Poel goes. Girmay follows. Now Van der Poel goes, Sean.
Yes, well, I think the moment there's 2 or 3 going out of this one, and he just waited for just a second to see whether there's going to be a reaction from UAE, from Visma, and if there's no reaction there, bang, this is the moment to go here. But 124, if the GC teams kept putting on the pressure like they have been all day, well then it wouldn't be a problem for the likes of Van der Poel to come out of this group and get across. But you cannot allow riders, fresher riders, to get out of the peloton here, and that could be a problem one, as we can see he's trying to come across here.
Rasmus Tiller here at the front with Michael Matthews. Rui Costa is chasing behind as well, Adam.
Yeah, it's full slang as well. The rider from Israel Premier Tech that looks to be in that group with Girmay and Van der Poel there, just sat on the back, as you mentioned, Costa coming across to it. But look, the GC group behind there is just focused on GC. They're not bothered about the stage win, and that's why we've got Bling going off the front with Tiller being chased down by Girmay, the rider from FDJ. Is it Godou?
Well, that's an effort, isn't it?
Oh, we are in for a treat here today.
And they go again. More moves. Cofidis this time. 1:30 back to this group. 20 seconds quickly for the Matthews group. Anybody else going to join them?
Guillaume Martin. Unbelievable. Fair play. Did not expect him to hit up here. It shows how hard it's been today, even with the gravel, and even though it's been very technical, very slippery inside it is impressive for him to be up there.
Well, he has to get up here, because in the end, if the race starts between the big favourites and it will all blow apart, that's where he will be in difficulty. So take the advantage. And we have seen Guillaume Martin many times. He loses 10 minutes, he gets into a break, pullbacks 5, loses 3 the next day, and he's yo-yoing in that GC classification. And to read it here, you have to get out, and where he's in the GC standing as well, he can do that.
You TV viewers, I should say, rejoin us with it all kicking off. You might be able to tell. 40 Ks to go, and Mathieu van der Poel has made a move and followed a move. Michael Matthews made it. Biniam Girmay followed. But I tell you what, I'm not sure anybody had David Godou and Guillaume Martin on their bingo card for getting up the road today. They can shout bingo now. They are up the road. This is Martin, the latest to join. It looks as though he's about to be reeled in. The Fondo group at 112 with green jersey Biniam Girmay there, as well as Rui Costa, Jakob Filsang, Rasmus Tiller, Matthews, we mentioned, having started the party.
Big group coming back together here as now, Rob. That peloton we saw in the previous shot there, all getting back in. Marc Soler getting back in. So this move here by Matthews, perfect time when the peloton's just easing off ever slightly. It's all coming back. So those UAE riders, the Visma Lisa bike riders, the quick step riders, they'll all have that extra help for positioning coming into the next section. These guys don't have to worry about that. They've jumped off up the road in search of stage victory today, whereas the GC riders, stage win, no stage win, they're bothered about time, not necessarily the result on the stage.
And given the composition of this group, time on each other, a reminder that up the road the most dangerous rider remains Derek G at 5 minutes 52, and with the current gap at 2 minutes, he is not coming sufficiently back into the GC to worry any of the big favourites.
And that's why we got Fulslang in that second group sat on the back, not doing any turns at the minute, so just letting the riders swap off. Great situation for them. If they do catch them, they'll have a fresh Fulslang to play with. Fresher, not fresh.
And here he is, Jakob Fulsang, another of those riders that down the years in Strade Bianche has been right up there. Second in 2019.
Sorry, and the same with Costa with Ben Healy up the road.
Sounds as though, looked as though Costa was just given his orders then, because he only then moved to the back of the group.
Not surprising. I mean, if you're in that front group, yes, there's some very quick men in there, but the last thing you want to do is bring the green jersey wearer, two-time stage winner already this year in this year's Tour de France, Biniam Girmay. Not only him, the world champion.
So 2:02, an extra minute for the breakaway on the yellow jersey group. And this now is the group of stage hunters who are in search of their big success. Sean, you've just been talking about Van der Poel and how he played it differently and cleverly. Was he still reacted there rather than was proactive, but he's in the fight now?
Yes, he is in the fight, and we can see there he's just tapping it away in the front, just doing his turn, and we talk a lot about that, do as little as the rest.
So guys, full concentration. If he's still not there, riders are tired, riders are nervous. Use your brain, in and out, and keep the focus.
The voice of Tom Stills speaking to Remco Evenepoel and Mikel Landa at the front of that group.
Use your brain.
Evenepoel sitting second in the general classification at 33 seconds from Tadej Pogacar. If they're to get home safe here, no time difference to Pogacar. Stage win and second on the GC, white jersey after the first block of racing. That would be some start to the Tour for Soudal Quickstep and Evenepoel, wouldn't it?
Amazing start. I mean, for a start where he was unsure of where he'd be at in terms of that, then, yeah, fantastic start. Just get through today safely, as you said, Rob. Go into the rest day with a good position right up there, second on GC. I don't think he could really ask for anything more.
Now in this group we have Van der Poel, who has one stage of the Tour de France to his name. Of course, he's the world champion. He's got a host of other races to his name. Michael Matthews has won stages here in the past as well. Rui Costa, he knows about winning stages at the Tour de France. He's been a former world champion, he's the current Portuguese champion, and he's a wily old competitor. And Biniam Girmay, who has two stages from this very edition. So it's a group of winners chasing this group again. Winners in their own right. A couple of riders have wins at the Tour in the past, but with much fresher legs and minds, you'd suggest.
I'd say so. I mean, this man here, he's tried for 2 days. Remember yesterday, Alberto Bettiol trying to get him into the breakaway. We heard from EF on a phone call, a team's phone call, that they are really targeting this stage. The main rider being Healy. He got across to this break today, but Ben Healy not got the quickest sprint on him. But he has got one of the most explosive, sort of that 2-3 minute block of powers where he can really put riders under stress. He's better at doing that on short, sharp climbs or on a gradient that goes uphill. And there's not much climbing left to go, so he's going to be very, very tactical about it. He's really going to have to use his head, especially with these guys down under a minute now, 54 seconds chasing them down. Time
is being taken out, as Adam was saying. This stage has been absolutely superb as a spectacle. But decisions are still to be made. We're getting to the business end now. There's a lot of gravel to come. And what a situation this is. Sean, in this group, how do you play it, in this chasing group here?
Well, you just have to ride as much as the others are doing, and hopefully they will start tiring out front a little bit. But with a Van der Poel, for example, you know, he is the one you'd be always concerned about when you get onto the gravel sections. When he hits you, if you're not in a great shape, it's going to be pretty much impossible to follow him. But if you're in a bad shape, there's no chance at all, because he will go around those corners as well so much faster. And you know, we've seen him so many times. He's bike handling, and when he gets within that, you know, 30, 40 seconds, the guys out front, they've been out there a long, long time. He would bridge that gap, you know, over one section. And when you talk about what's to come, Rob, there's so many difficult sections to come, all on the flat, of course, and it all depends on, you know, how much power you have left. And you know, Ben Healy as well, he would like more lumpy stuff, but again, he's a fighter. And on the flat here, you know, on the gravel, it's all about how much power you have left in the legs. So now 54 seconds, you know, to this chasing group. They have to close it down a bit more, get it down to that 25, 30 seconds, and then you could bridge across. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how much they're going to be able to contribute out front to hold on to this advantage.
Surrounded by champagne vines. Today has been vintage so far. 35 Ks to go. There's the Van der Poel group.
It is 5 versus 8 at the minute, let's not forget as well, with Forslangen, Rui Costas has sat on the back, those guys not tapping through, going back for the bottles in the car. There's only 5 of them rotating, that's Van der Poel, Louis de May in there, because the other 2 sitting on. 8 riders in the front. Yes, they've been out there all day, but they really do have to work together, and they can't afford to mess around. They can't afford to look at each other. Because as we've seen, out of 53 seconds, now back up to 56, just with that little momentary look around, especially into this headwind as it is.
2:18 now, back to the yellow jersey group and into this big headwind here. And after that last group went, the situation settling as much as it can at this point before we go to the next sector. It certainly looks like now, Sean, that the stage win is coming from the front 2 groups, doesn't it?
Yes, you would expect that, but again, there is a lot of sections still to come, and a lot of gravel, sandy gravel roads to be negotiated. And you know, if they really start kicking on with some of the teams that still have got numbers back there in that group of the big favourites, you know, they could pull back a